to treat horses, you know? I mean, a lot of them like to be treated, you know, just like really gentle. Nice horsey. Yeah, I love horses. They're really nice.
1984 was one of the greatest movie years ever. A year so stacked with blockbusters it looked like Hollywood was trying to win a competition nobody else was playing. Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, Beverly Hills Cop, The Terminator. It was a monster lineup, and buried underneath that cinematic avalanche were some truly wild films that absolutely did not get the love they deserved. These weren't bad movies, they were just early, misunderstood, outnumbered, like the kid who brings a salad to a pizza party. Today, we're breaking down the 1984 movies that absolutely tanked, only to come back decades later as cult favorites that people brag about liking before it was cool. David Lynch's Dune walked into theaters with a giant budget, a giant cast, and what can only be described as a gigantic cosmic migraine of a plot. Audiences in 1984 showed up expecting Star Wars, and instead got a 3-hour geography lesson on the planet Arrakis. There's sand. There's more sand, then a guy whispering about sand like it owes him money. The studio crammed Lynch's surreal vision into a runtime held together by narration, flashbacks, and pure chaos. Viewers left theaters saying, I think I liked it, maybe? Fast forward to today, and suddenly Dune is a cultural landmark. It's studied, celebrated, quoted. People who didn't understand it in 1984 are now giving TED Talks on political symbolism behind giant space worms. Back then, box office disappointment. Now, nerd royalty.
Try looking into that place where you dare not look. You will find me there staring back at you.
You mustn't speak!
Streets of Fire.
I'll be coming for her, and I'll be coming for you too.
Sure you will, and I'll be waiting.
Repo Man. If punk rock, UFO paranoia, and existential dread had a baby, Repo Man would be the child who gets pulled out of class for drawing strange things in the margins of homework. It barely made money. Early showings were so empty the projectionist probably had time to get lunch. But Repo Man became a midnight movie icon. The kind of film that rewards you with new weirdness every time you watch it. It had lines people quoted like scripture. Let's go do crimes. You're all gonna be sorry. You don't want to look in the trunk. It didn't crush it at the box office. It crushed it at the VHS rental shelf, where it lived like royalty. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. This movie isn't just a cult classic, it's a personality test. If someone says they love Buckaroo Banzai, what they're really telling you is, I enjoy chaos, scientists with rock bands, and movies that feel like you're reading a comic book in the middle of another comic book. It was bizarre, brilliant, and impossible to summarize in less than one paragraph, which is exactly why audiences in 1984 had no idea what to do with it. Meanwhile, The Karate Kid was right next door being easy to understand. Buckaroo tanked hard, but decades later, it's the film equivalent of a secret handshake, a movie where fans aren't just fans, they're disciples. Once upon a time in America, Sergio Leone spent years building his gangster epic, a sprawling, emotional masterpiece with Robert De Niro delivering one of his most underrated performances. So what did the studio do? They chopped it up like a bad mixtape and released a version that made zero sense. People walked out thinking, was the projector broken? Box office, disastrous. America said, what did we just watch? But when the real version came out later, the 4-hour cut, film critics basically held a candlelight visual for how hard this movie has been wronged. Now it's considered one of the greatest gangster films ever made. The glow up was unreal. The Cotton Club. Francis Ford Coppola made a huge, stylish, jazz-era crime musical with tap dancing, gangsters, incredible music, and a budget big enough to cause its own economic crisis. The problem? Nobody knew who the movie was for. Gangster fans were confused, musical fans were confused, jazz fans were confused, and investors were very confused. It underperformed and left behind more lawsuits than ticket stubs. But today, the restored version, The Cotton Club Encore, has a legit fan base. Now people say, wow, this is actually great, which is Hollywood code for we didn't get it the first time.
Simply set your pride away from here. Take the lady with you. Come on. Now get him out of here. And fast! Get it out!
Top secret, the Airplane team tried to strike again with a Cold War spy parody starring a very young Val Kilmer doing Elvis impressions. Audiences liked it, kind of, but it didn't explode like Airplane did. It was treated like the middle child of Abrams Zucker movies. But man, this thing aged better than almost every spoof that ever came out after it. It's packed with blink and you miss it visual gags, jokes that happen in the background, and scenes that feel like the comedy version of Where's Waldo. Today, it's one of the most quoted cult comedies of the 80s. Back then, people were like, I'll wait for Beverly Hills Cop. Electric Dreams. This is one of the earliest. Computer becomes sentient and fights you for your girlfriend movies, which probably sounded insane in 1984, but now looks like a documentary about series villain origin story. It barely made any money, but it had heart. It was sweet, strange, and surprisingly ahead of its time. Today, it's one of those films people rediscover and go, wait, this is actually kind of cool. And then they immediately start Googling whether it's getting a remake, which it is.
Sweet dreams.
What's a dream?
A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep.
Who says?
Walt Disney, Sleeping Beauty, 1950.
No, it was Cinderella, 1949.
Good night.
1984 didn't just give us classics. It gave us a pile of underrated, underappreciated gems that were overshadowed by giants. These movies might have crashed at the box office, but they exploded in the long run. Some became cult favorites. Some became iconic. Some got restored cuts. Some became symbols of how badly a studio can ruin a good thing. But every single one of them proves the same truth. Box office numbers don't tell the whole story. Sometimes the best films are the slow burners that take decades to catch fire.
Albert, slow down. Smell the pine.
That's no pine, that's wheelchair exhaust.
Well, let him go.
I